Hi there, I'm Martino, and in this video I'm going to relive my adventures in Prague and let you guys know if it's worth visiting for a footy trip. Let's do this. After much deliberation and flight checking, Prague was a late change from Thessaloniki for my good pal Lee's 40th birthday. Reunited with the Meadows Bros after our trip to Belgium, this time with a few added extra faces. With an abundance of options for clubs in Prague, emails were sent to all teams playing at home that weekend. Dukla Prague, currently plying their trade in the second tier, responded most enthusiastically, proposing a VIP experience for less than the price of your cheapest Premier League tickets. Be rude not to for 30 quid. As I waited for the lads to arrive in Prague, I took in Tottenham's fight back against Manchester United. Night 1, Irish bar number 1. Much as I would have loved to be cultured when wanting to watch footy abroad, there's only ever one winner. Up bright and early the next morning, I took in a communism walking tour to take in a bit of history. The only catch was it was in Spanish. I caught the headlines, but jokes and detail were very much lost on me. Prague itself has played a significant part in European history, not surprisingly due to its central location. Inhabited since prehistoric times, evidence of human life goes back over 500,000 years. Throughout the Middle Ages, Prague continued to grow in importance due to its significant location on the Vltava River. Holy Roman Emperor Charles IV made Prague his capital, and it's from this period in the 14th century that many of the city's most beautiful buildings come from, most notably Charles Bridge, which is one of the biggest draws for the 6 million tourists a year. Another huge attraction is the astrological clock, dating back as early as 1410, a stunning piece of horology with absorbing detail. However, the crowds only really begin to gather on the hour to watch a rather tame rotation of characters for 27 seconds. Give me the exploding cannon in Zagreb any day of the week. Prosperity continued, and by World War I, Prague was a key part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. With defeat imminent, there was a push for independence, and Czechoslovakia was formed on the 28th of October 1918. Yet, a little over 20 years on, war was to return to Europe. Again, due to central position, Prague was a key location. Some clever propaganda from Hitler meant he was able to manipulate and then occupy Prague despite many resistance attempts. These were brutally quashed, and as expected, until finally the Prague Uprising of May 1945 led to Soviet intervention and the liberation of Czechoslovakia. Due to the Soviet assistance, Czechoslovakia fell under the communist regime behind the Iron Curtain. Any resistance was continually suppressed until 1989. Inspired by the fall of the Berlin Wall just months earlier, the Velvet Revolution, named so for its peaceful nature, began. With the power declining, the USSR were unable to support the communist government. The pressure led to their ousting and set up a new democracy, bringing an end to 43 years of one-party rule. 2 years on from the fall of communism, Czech Republic and Slovakia decided to go their separate ways. Despite no referendum and only an estimated 40% of the people wanting independence, the government decided this was for the best. Though there was no great clamour for separation, the threats that united them in 1918 were no longer present, and the split went ahead. A compliment to both sides is that there has been peace throughout. And today, that peace and prosperity remains, with maternity leave up to 3 years, unemployment as low as 3%, and for the 29th consecutive year, they remain by far and away the biggest beer drinkers in the world. This country's certainly doing something right. Back to the footy, and first up was Dukla Prague, currently chasing promotion back to the top flight where they had been for 8 years until relegation in 2019. Though this doesn't tell half of their story. Despite going through name changes and going out of business, their true glory days date back as far as the first of their 11 league titles in 1953. 4 of these were won consecutively in the early 60s. Not only were they the best in the country, Czechoslovakia were up there amongst the world's elite. The great hero of Dukla, Josef Masopust, scored the opening goal in the 1962 World Cup final against Pele's Brazil. Sadly, due to a couple of goalkeeper errors, it wasn't enough to hold on for victory, as they lost 3-1. But it was enough to win in the Ballon d'Or that year and a statue outside the Stadion Huliska. Jakub Masopust. Ballon d'Or winner 1962. Dukla legend. Their fame was still burning bright in 1986 and was immortalised in the half-man, half-biscuit cult classic song of All I Want for Christmas is a Dukla Prague away kit.
The Dukla Prague away kit, cause his uncle owned a sports shop and he kept it to one side, and after only 5 minutes you'd be down to 10 men, cause he'd sent off your right back for taking the base from under his left winger.
Back to the current day, and we met former player Martin, who showed us around the stadium, including a walk across the pitch over to the Legends Lounge for a quick star of ramen. Here we met a group of 10 or so Dutch blokes who were on their 30th annual footy trip and having a wonderful time. Something incredible to aspire to. VIP section allowed quick access to unlimited sausage and beer with wonderful views out across Prague. A really beautiful spot to watch football and a great experience all round. Even if the football on show wasn't up to much, the game against MFK Chudrin petered out into a 1-1 draw. A small but not quite fatal blow to Dukla's promotion hopes. Post-match, it was Rocky O'Reilly's for some bangers and mash before taking on the slightly more traditional Prague staple of a techno music night. An interesting change for me, but when in Rome... Thankfully, Sunday's match allowed for a bit of a lie-in, as Slavia Prague weren't due to continue their quest for glory against Hradec Králové until mid-afternoon. Looking for their 21st title and hoping to close the gap on their arch-rival Sparta with 34, it was the last game before the split into the playoffs. Every point was crucial. The fans were in strong voice from the start. Oh, and don't expect to sit in your own seat. Just find a space amongst the crowds. Studying with the Ultras is always a great experience, if not a little disconcerting at first just to try and gauge the vibe, but this was a top environment for watching football. Bright sunshine made for a great spectacle at the Fortuna Arena, the biggest in the country at just under 20,000 and also the most modern. With an average gate of 15,000, it's the perfect size for such a club. Built in 2008, it also hosts concerts and has played to greats such as Bon Jovi and my personal favourite, the boss, Bruce Springsteen. The match started with an early goal for the opposition, and a bit of taunting of fans highlighted the tightness of the stadium, as goal scorer Jakub Kuchera was well within range of a few plastic cups. 10 minutes later, an own goal drew Slavia level, and that is how it stayed until the final whistle. A disappointing result for the home side in their title race, one, however, that didn't prevent them from beating rivals Sparta to earn their 7th domestic cup the following weekend, ensuring there was some guaranteed silverware come the end of the season. It was back into town to watch a manic Liverpool-Tottenham match before checking out the remaining Irish bars the town had to offer. Sandwiched by a trip to the worst restaurant we've ever been to with terrible service and ice-cold lasagna. Avoid the Italian on the main square at all costs. And that was that. Another wonderful weekend enjoying the world's greatest invention. A city I would highly recommend for a footy trip, but how does it compare to others? So, scoring out of 100 over 10 categories. Let's see what we think. Team ability. Despite being the 15th best league in Europe, a couple of recent Europa League quarter-final spots leave Slavia ranked 32nd in European coefficient. So, decent standard overall. 6 out of 10. Atmosphere. Tremendous from the home fans from start to finish with the capo dictating the crowd. A great place to observe the Ultras. 7 out of 10. Stadium quality. Nice little stadium, well sized for the stand of the team and good enough for UEFA to host this year's Conference League final. 7 out of 10. Beer and food at the stadium. Good sausage and lager with epic beer holders, meaning carrying 8 at a time was feasible. What more could you want? 9 out of 10. Tourism. Prague is one of the top destinations in Europe, and understandably so. Beauty around every corner and perfect for couples and groups alike. 9 out of 10. Accessibility. Cheap flights can be found all year, and although the halcyon days of £1 pints are long gone, steer away from the Irish pubs and there's still value to be had. 9 out of 10. People. I didn't get too involved with the locals, but neither did they come across as too open and friendly. 6 out of 10. Stadium surroundings. Not too much exciting around the stadium and a fair walk from the centre. 6 out of 10. History. 20 league titles and a Mitropa Cup win in 1938. A kind of old-school Central European Cup. Not too shabby. 7 out of 10. Ease and cost of ticket pricing. Pretty simple and straightforward. Tickets can cost as low as a tenner and almost all games will have tickets available. 9 out of 10. So, 75 out of 100. A great score. All in all, a bloody wonderful place to go for a footy trip. Certainly one I would recommend to any football fan, particularly with the amount of teams in the city. Personal accomplishments for me on this trip. I've now watched football in 19 countries in the world, 13 of those in Europe. Sadly not a new country visited for me, but a new country watching footy is the next best thing. Thanks again for joining me, and until the next footy trip, take it easy.